So, Highland Terrace knocked on my door today. Two people from the church, Highland Terrace. And they asked me if I knew Christ. I told them, yo, I know him pretty good. And somebody start elaborating about Christ. I told him, I understand that. That was perfect. Let's start going into the Bible, talking about how Christ is God. And I told him, no, Christ ain't God. And I broke it down to him how Christ isn't God. Because if Christ is God, then that would mean that I'm God in human form. If I'm God in human form, who am I praying to? And that may not make sense now, but yeah, I don't believe Jesus is God, just like I don't believe the Son is the universe. I don't believe the Son is the Father. I believe the Son will become a Father, so the Father is in the Son. It's like a seed is inside of an apple, and it makes another apple. But that doesn't mean that the Son and the Father are the same person. It's just like real life right now. If I have a kid, that's my son. And they try to show me that scripture where it say God is the Word, and the Word is, or whatever, God was the Word, whatever. And it's still the same thing. The Word is just the truth. And if Jesus was the truth in human form, like, I understand, but it's just him made in the image. I mean, he's just like his daddy. Then they tried to tell me something about how God isn't spiritually connected to the earth. I could have disagreed, but I agreed. I said, I understand that because it's just like Adam and Eve. Adam followed, he didn't have to eat the fruit, but he ate the fruit and followed Eve into hell. I don't think God, that's where we made a mistake, because I don't think the Father would have did that. I don't think God would have did that. God sent Adam before he sent Christ. So just saying, I told them, man, y'all said it coming from this, well, I'm gonna get into that later on. But yeah, God is not connected to the earth because God is doing it the right way, where man has fell short chasing after a woman. Christ didn't even have a woman. Is he just like his daddy? It's like if I have kids with a woman, Mother Earth, and she go off and fuck off on Satan, or if I'm Adam and I have kids with Eve, or I'm fucking with Eve and she go and fuck off with Satan, and you got like good and evil, Satan kids, you got a butcher and a farmer. You got Satan kids and you got kids, children of God. So God said, you know what? Fuck that hoe. Satan can have her. And God ain't got nothing for nobody except for his sons that understand that and his daughters that do right by that. Unlike Eve, who went to hell. Because it could be vice versa. The man could be trying to drag the woman into hell and she could be like, fuck this. But the way the story goes is Eve ate the fruit, then that nigga ate the fruit. Where's the story where the nigga don't chase after the bitch? Where's the story where the nigga don't eat the fruit? And you can't find that in the Bible. You're only gonna find that in my book. It's like Tarzan and Jane. You know, like he could have followed her, but it would have been it would have been wrong to leave all his people behind like that. You know what I'm saying? Knowing they finna they back there caging the gorillas and all that. That nigga jumped off the boat and went back and she followed him. So it's like where's the story telling men that? Don't eat the fruit, don't fall for that trap. Stick with God and she'll follow you. It's not in the Bible. So but I do totally understand why they say God is disconnected spiritually from the earth, because this is hell. Earth ain't making the right decisions. Herself and soul, her soul, something like that, you know. So I totally understand that. In a different form, but of real life, like God's creation. Like I can look at God's creation and write those words in the Bible. I can look at nature. I can look at the animals and write those words in the Bible. And then I'm telling them, you know, I'm telling them how I can communicate with plants and animals and stuff, and they looking at me crazy. And I tell them how, you know, it's crazy how I tell Christians I can communicate with animals, but they don't believe me. But in Job, it says, ask the animals. And they said, no, I don't believe that. I've never saw that. And I told them to look it up. They wouldn't look it up. It clearly says in the Bible, ask the animals, they know. Ask the birds, you know, shit like that. But when you do that, people are going to think you're crazy. And that's what I told them. But I know my gift and I believe in it. And when I get it together, I'm going to come out with a project one day once God bless me in order to get my message to the millions of people. I been came out with a project like Dr. Doolittle or something, just to show you it's real. Like I'm blessed to tell you, man, we can communicate with animals, but it's still gonna go over your head, you know, shit like that. And yeah, I read in the Bible one day where Christ said somebody greater gonna come after him. They didn't know about that. Then I asked them, if God is the Father and you got Mother Earth, And God loved us so much that he sent his son. He didn't come himself. He sent his son. So man, this is deep. Like how you gotta look at this shit in human form too. But like I said, he sent his son, you know? And it's like, damn, don't that make us his brothers and sisters? I mean, we here. How do I say this? We his brothers and sisters, but the thing is we having babies and doing shit the wrong way. The world's staying bad. We ain't having good. We're not producing good seeds. Cause Eve, the women ain't got their mind right. They don't give a fuck about the nigga that's in the bed with them. So we're producing bad seeds, and it's like, what the fuck was I finna say? Yeah, um, Christ didn't have babies when he was here, so that's pretty much him showing us the perfect way of being here and making it out of here. Like, I mean, like, if that makes sense, like, with no reason to come back here. Christ came to wake up his brothers and sisters. And let's think on the family scale, like, I mean, on the, like, in human form thing. And if I come back, I came back to wake up my brothers and sisters. Like, man, that ain't even my point. That's not my point. That's just something that, like I kind of wanted to ask them. I think I did ask them, or I said it. I don't know, but it's like, who do y'all think Christ is? Shit, like, what do y'all think of when y'all hear Christ? Because there's many different ways to take these things, and we got to come together in order to figure them out. Dude was trying to tell me, oh, he doesn't believe in God, and I'm like, nah, I do believe in God. Everything I get comes from God. It's just different from how you see it. So that's why we got to come together, because everybody read it and get something different out of it. So we got to put all this shit together and gain a new understanding. Like, they was trying to tell me all this stuff about Christ, and I was able to like point out nature and explain everything they was telling me with the trees and shit, like how rain, like it's rain comes down and it evaporates at the bottom and goes back up to the top. Do they do y'all know what it means to rain in the Bible? Like, do y'all know that there's plenty stories in the Bible that come from the mouth of rain? Like, if that makes sense, like, the mother of these stories that are in the Bible is the sun, the stars, the rain, the seeds, like, and I'm explaining all that shit to them about, like, how I can communicate with the animals, all this Christ shit. And it's hard for them to believe it. And I'm like, well, how do y'all believe it about Christ then? The Bible says ask the animals. The Bible tells us that God said when you plant your seed, Satan gonna plant his seed, like all that kind of shit, like so it's like you can communicate with the plants and stuff. You don't need the book. Like, yeah, I don't. Christ said, don't worship me, so I don't. I worship God. Like wherever Christ got his shit, that's where I get my shit. And it was just hard for them to understand and believe that my people was living a life out here on this planet and doing right and dying and trying to get back home or whatever before there was a publishing company to put out the Bible, where there's a man and there's a story about somebody called Jesus. I'm way too advanced. I can be a human being that just came out here and lived life and never read the Bible in my life, and 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 I got into and I joined society and sold my soul to where, how do I say this? Well, it's like this shit just went like straight away from me. What was I saying? That's crazy. I was gonna say I could get out here in society, sell my soul, and start making like money and shit. Hold up, man, what the fuck was I gonna say? Yes, that's what I was gonna say. Okay, boom, back. I can get out here in society and just live life. Start in the hood at the bottom, and I can make it to the suburbs. And when I get to the suburbs, I can go back to the hood and tell people, look, man, this is what you got to do. Y'all ain't doing it right. You got to do this. They tricking you. They holding you down. You ain't gonna never make it out of this till you do this. They say people making it from the hood to the suburbs. And just with that piece of knowledge, instead of telling them like that, I'm gonna say the hood is earth and the suburbs is heaven. And I'm gonna put a person in the story, and that came from the hood to the suburbs, from the suburbs back to the hood to wake people up. What I'm saying is I'm gonna do a different story though, saying the same thing, but I'm gonna tell you how to get from heaven to earth. So Christ is a part of a system. Like, it's just a system. Like, how do I say this? It's like it's the truth. Like, to life, but people out here that sold their soul and they live in a dumbed down version of that. Y'all heaven is on earth. Y'all won't see the heaven Christ was talking about living how y'all living. But y'all asking me if I know Christ. And see, Christ was against like capitalism. Like he said, give to Caesar what Caesar's. All I'm saying is that nigga that he wasn't no sellout. You see what I'm saying? Well, he probably was in order to get his message across, but I mean, that's just the world we live in today. To get them followers, you gotta coexist with the snake in the garden where you don't eat. So I'm not saying Jesus sold his soul, but that's just how shit go in reality. Now what I'm saying is they asking me to follow Christ and they like, do you know Christ? And you should follow Christ, all that shit. And I'm like, yeah, I have followed Christ and it led to the cross. Does it not? And if it doesn't, then why did Christ wound up on the cross? So when you're asking me to follow Christ, you're pretty much telling me to go die. I mean, no matter if it's good or however, it may turn out great when I die, but that's pretty much what you're asking me to go die. When you say go get on the cross, where there is many other ways, or it should be, but with the system, Satan's little system, it's like if I start doing what Christ did, if I follow Christ, where does it lead to? Next thing you know, I'm on trial, trying to plead my case, trying to beat the case, trying to prove my innocence and all that. And I'm going through that in reality. Like, I can't find a job because of our whistleblow. I do shit like this, so, I can't find a job. It's like the system designed to keep me down because of who I am. And I know it's because I've followed Christ and I'm on the cross now. And I don't want to die on the cross if I don't have to. So it's like, damn, who gonna save me though? Where's the support now that I'm on the cross? You see what I'm saying? Everybody don't understand that I'm on the cross in life. They're stated like, you need to follow Christ. You need to follow Christ. But I've done that. Now I'm on the cross. And what does this lead to? Death? I mean, what if I don't want to die? I'm wondering where is the support system for when you then got out here and spoke out against the environment, against the truth, against the lies that control society, and now they keeping you down. Where is the support? Where are the people that says, I see that you follow Christ. I see you, bro. I know why you're going through what you're going through. And they're going to try to keep you down. Like, where are the people that come to people and say, you are Christ in this culture? Like, you're the one. You see what I'm saying? Nowhere, because because they don't want to support you. They don't exist. They just come to you and tell you to follow Christ. And they think they're doing something, but they're not doing nothing. Because Christ put himself on the cross. And if you follow in Christ, it should lead to the cross. And none of them are on the cross. God's people are poor. None of them are poor. They work good jobs. They wake up and sell their soul every day. They think that, like, when telling people to follow Christ is not going to put you on the cross, but being like Christ will put you on the cross. And that's what I told them, and they just, they just kept going. And I had to explain it to them, like, there's a difference between eating the fruit and dying. and death. Because you can eat the fruit. Eating the fruit is just selling your soul for power, for money, for the system, for a ticket. Mark of the beast. That's eating the fruit. You can still live and do that. You die in a certain way, but you still live. You get another chance to turn it around, like you get another chance to die, I guess. What I'm saying is Jesus actually like died. Like as people turned on him, there was no support. He didn't want the money. People coming trying to help. He didn't want the money. I guess I don't know. I just understand the shit because I'm going through it. I'm a reflection of him on the planet. Is what I was telling these white boys, and I was telling them how when they was asking me, "Do I know who Christ is?" I said some shit like, "Well, a white person can walk in Christ, but when they do, they if they did for real, if a white person really understood Christ or was trying to be Christ-like, then they probably understand that." In the movie Avatar, they probably understand shit like, well, I mentioned how white people came and put the gorillas on Tarzan. White people came and put them gorillas in cages. And Tarzan was white. Them was his people. His color. He ain't never seen them in his life. But he still wasn't tricked by the truth. So, or he wasn't fooled by he knew the truth. So it don't matter what color you are. Wrong is wrong, right is right. So he didn't take those white people's side. He took the gorilla side. They almost had him, but he went the other way. He almost ate the fruit, but he went the other way. And so the bitch went with him, and Tarzan would be Jesus out here, if black people are gorillas on this island, was brought here, where's our Tarzan? Where's the white man that understand that and telling us that? Like on Avatar, they went up to the sky and ran into them blue people, and they was trying to do some fucked up shit. But you had that one white man that we hooked up to that tree. I mean, well, that they hooked up to that tree at the end and gave him a spot in heaven because he understood. Just imagine in Avatar if they had brought them blue people to the earth, enslaved them, and kept them down, and retrained them, and well, they didn't know their history eventually after thousands of years, nor how they got there. And then one day, this a star was born, and he grew up, and he just was receiving downloads, and he could look at things around him that God created and put it together that this is not where we belong. Like something ain't right, and he's speaking out, and everything he's saying is the truth. That's Christ. Like that's the kind of shit. I mean, if you're asking me what I think about Christ, like I said, it's really a reflection of me, somebody out here that's looking around and telling people this ain't what we're supposed to be doing. That's not right. They doing this to us, they pressing us, and for that, there's no come up for me. So I'm on the cross, and all it seems to be left for me is dying. And people ain't there for me because they done sold their soul, so they can't. They don't want to look out for me. So it's like, where's the support system for a person once they on the cross? And why can't people walk up to people and say, "I notice you are on the cross. I see you." you're doing it instead of telling those people to follow Christ. It just don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, I wrote some shit down. Um, I agreed to what they were saying and then explained to them how what they read came from God, the nature. And they said it's imagination. So I broke it down each time. Like everything I said, I agreed to what they were saying and then explained to them how what they were saying came from God. But I used the nature that God created. And they were saying it's imagination, so I would just break it down using nature. And I use something like this right here. And this is what I told them. I said, let's pretend these are all the people on this island right here, right? And you got this one special seed over here that's locked up in a cup and is not getting to grow because he has the power and the message to wake all of these seeds up to what's going on in this building that Satan runs that controls all of these people. So what goes on in this building, which is controlled by Satan, is keeping these people down, keeping them down, deaf, dumb, and blind. The people in this building profit off of their sins. He was this seed was a sinner too, and realized, hey man, this something ain't right, and it kind of set it apart, to where he on trial. They questioning him. They want to keep him down because what he knows will wake these people up, and they're no longer profit. So they found them and put them in there to keep them silent. Yeah, I get what I'm saying. And I was able to use this to explain to them who Christ is to me, but it's just a reflection of me right now. All the shit I'm going through, this is me. Like that's death. Whether it's jail or whatever, it's a form of death. And can they come back to life? Yeah. But it's like putting some mud in this cup and you put a seed in there and it comes up and it sprouts. Eventually you got to take it out. You got to take it out and put it somewhere else because there's no room to grow in here. So I look at this like Greenville, a small town, and we seeds in the cup. Some of us, because they don't want us to wake all these seeds up. So some of us are seeds in the cup, and even these seeds, that once it sprout, that's it. You're not gonna do too much after that because there's no room to grow, and you got to get out of there and go somewhere else to where you can be a tree. Because a tree is, y'all see what's going on. It's like it's gonna bust out of this. But yeah, I'm just saying I'm able to use nature and certain things, and explain to them how Christ was designed. And I know they understood what I was saying, but they didn't want to. I'm sitting there telling them, man, I got to leave here Monday. I'm evicted because I lost my job due to whistleblowing because I'm out here telling people they doing us wrong. They whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm trying to document it and they firing me. And and it's because I followed Christ and I'm doing what Christ did. Now it's to the point to where I'm on the cross, finna lose everything I got. And I'm wondering, in reality, who's going to support me? Who's going to come to me and say, I see you did it. It's true. That's how they going to do you. You the messenger. You're Christ. Instead of coming and telling me to follow Christ when I've done that, it don't make sense to me. So, and they're doing nothing if they're not supporting Christ. They're not supporting Christ by telling people to follow Christ. What are they doing? They not on the cross. I mean, they supporting Christ by telling people to follow Christ. But they not supporting me, and I'm out here living like I didn't follow Christ. So when does it get to the point where they start supporting me? When I'm dead? See what I'm saying? It kind of just don't make no sense. Well, on one part, they hear me, but don't know what it's like to actually be like Christ. They don't know what I've been through. Just hearing to ask, so they asking me, "Do you know Christ? You should follow Christ." Man, them people must don't know what I've been through. They don't know what it's like to be like Christ, because all they doing is you don't get put on the cross by telling people to follow Christ. You get put on the cross by being like Christ. Shit like that. Like, I'm telling these people about stuff that's in the Bible, and they telling me it ain't there, but it is. And if it isn't, we both agree it should be. We talked about the life without the sun. If God never had sent his son, it'd be dark, wouldn't nothing grow, no plants, no none of that. Or it wouldn't grow the right way. You got seeds out here. You got fruits with no seeds. So they would have found a way to eat without God. Without the sun. That's fucking bug. That's why they was eating each other. Eating animals. Things the dark side still do today. It's the light versus the dark. The sun it's the son of God. Without it, there's no light. We can't see right. We know there's no real seeds like me. There's no real trees, no learning trees. Everything is fake flowers. Like, so it's like day and night, day versus night, sun versus the moon. And what people gotta always remember is that the moon bumps its light from the sun. Satan wouldn't be nothing without God. And see, the Bible goes on and on about that, but it's right in the sky. Like that's and I was trying to explain that to them how I've wrote many stories just like Bible stories. But I just understand, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why I was telling them, and they was like, "Well, no, I don't understand that. You got to follow Jesus." And blah, blah, blah. And I was like, "Jesus didn't say worship Him. Jesus said worship God." And when I worship God, I understand how I can write the story of Jesus. Does that not make sense to y'all? When the Bible says, ask the animals, or when Jesus showed us how we can get all this knowledge through nature and plants and like and all that, like how come we can't do that? What makes you think I can't do that? When the Bible telling me to ask it, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you come here speaking from the Bible, and I'm telling you I can communicate with animals, and you think I'm crazy. But the book says it. It's telling me to do it. And you didn't know it was in there? It's over. Like, I mean, it's pretty much done right there. I can keep going, bro. I got so much shit. We had a good conversation. But like I said, with this right here, I was able to explain everything. You know what I'm saying? We gonna all they kids and everything. Like they gonna wake up, they gonna grow up, and they gonna be eating off bad trees, eating out of stores. This nigga might open up a Brookshire's, and it ain't nothing but butcher. It ain't nothing but bad bioengineered food and shit in there. This person might open up a gun range. This person might open up a gas station selling synergy. This person might, whatever they do, they selling their soul because they got to coexist with the snake in the garden in order to eat. And then you got this seed over there that they don't want to grow or to become what it can be because it's like it's going to affect. Like, y'all get what I'm trying to say, and that's Christ. And they tell you to follow Christ, but it just leads to the cross though, and that's my thing. I'll follow him, but when I get here, where's my support? I'm there now. You knocked on my door. Everything happened for a reason. Hey, sir, do you hear anything I'm saying? Yeah, I believe in God. Yeah, I believe in Jesus. Yeah, I follow Christ. I think about it every day. That's all I do. But I'm on that cross right now, sir. Yeah, you knocked on the right door today. And now you finna be tested. I was like, where is that support system? I was like, yeah, well, they said a prayer about, he was like, Christ, you are the one, you are the way, you are this, like, and I was, after he prayed, I said, I believe all that, but I'm just gonna ask the question again. If I follow Christ, I said, does following Christ lead to the cross or not? And if it doesn't, then why did it lead him to the cross? So it leads to the cross. You're not following Christ by telling people follow Christ. You don't get put on the cross by telling people follow Christ. You get put on the cross by being like Christ. So what I'm asking them is for the group of people that have followed Christ and are in the situation to where they need support out here in reality under Satan's system, what company, what people, what business, and etc. is out there to support it. And they said, nah, that don't exist. Well, that's nowhere. That doesn't exist. That was the answer. And I told them I understand. So that's my point. Y'all pretty much coming to me let me know it's death around the corner. Or to pretty much tell me to like to to go die. But they don't understand I'm already like on the cross. And they didn't come to me, they didn't come at me right. They don't want to help nobody. It's like they just want us gone. Crazy thing about this shit is Highland Terrace Church, the pastor of that church almost died in his front yard in high school. It was a whole message. I was trying to get my friends to sell their soul for our music group before I did a Black History project. I was trying to get my friends to sell their soul. We always do up a triangle, like we used to do all that shit. I thought it was a way to get rich, selling our soul through the music. I remember the day I was telling them and I was acting like I was serious. I acted it out. I was like, nah, nigga, you gonna sell it, bro. You gonna, like, I was telling my nigga, bro, like, and I like, he actually took me serious too, but I was just acting. But shit, we might have to, bro. I forgot what he said. And that night, I almost lost my life. And the pastor of Highland Terrace Church, just front yard, on the four-wheeler, I ran straight through the barbed wire fence and still got the scars to this day. I didn't go to the hospital or none of that. I was with a white boy named Lane White. He a cop right now. And I was with a Mexican named Nate Benton. Don't know what he doing. But they took me to this pastor house. They was having a little get together or whatever they was doing. I don't know. I didn't want to ride the four-wheelers. They talked me into it. It was my first time on the four-wheeler and my last. Long story short, I ran right through a barbed wire fence going about 50. Came right out on the other side and didn't feel nothing. I just saw a light. I ain't even get into all that. I didn't feel nothing. My homeboy found me because he heard me laughing. They was looking for me. I heard him, Tevin, where you at? Where you at? I just saw a light, but it was from the four-wheeler. And I could hear their voice, and I'm just sitting there laughing. I could feel shit just dripping down my whole upper body. And I'm just sitting on the ground laughing. I didn't feel nothing. Didn't go to the hospital, didn't get stitches or none of that. My homeboy Nate patched me up back at his crib, and I was at school the next day with major, like, bear claws. Like a lion scratched me. I just done been through shit, and they have no idea who I am. All I do is expose Satan's system. You know what I'm saying? How can you not believe that? How can you not believe all I do is expose? How can you not believe all I do is expose Satan's system and I go through hell for it? I'm on the cross. They got your boy on trial out here. How can you ignore that? How can you be blind to that and sitting here telling me to follow Christ? When does it get to the point to where you come to me and say, I see you. Here's some bread. You breaking bread and they putting you through it, I'm receiving that. So let me give. Y'all selling y'all soul for some other bread, that paper bread, like, and it's like, damn, out here in society, who gonna support me? Like, who gonna buy me? Who gonna keep me alive? Who gonna give me a place to stay where I gotta sell my soul and I can keep giving out daily bread? Like, I don't know. It's like, where's the support system for people like me? They don't exist. So yeah, it's like they know Christ today when they knocked on my door, and I know they know that. I told them I done read the story of Christ, and I put myself in the position of Christ, and I see why He's real. But when I tell you I'm on the Christ, when I tell you I'm on the cross, you don't believe me. How can you not believe me? I'll say it again. I put myself in the position that Christ, I follow Christ. And I put myself in that position. So where all I do is expose Satan's system every day. I'm still trying to get by. And it's hard. So I see why Jesus is real, or the idea or the story of Jesus that's been designed in this system to put fear in people that they gonna die if they speak out. I'm just saying, I see that He's real because I put myself in that position. But when I tell you I'm on the cross, you don't believe me. Why? Where does following Christ lead to? You know, like, to them people at that church, I should have been something. I should have been something a long time ago, but they don't know me. They don't know I got shot in the chest 3 times and stood right up and walked. But see, my thing is, I think they do. I think they know my birthday on Christmas. And in this system, in human form, they have something called zodiac signs and been having it for years. And when Christ walked this earth, when it comes to zodiac signs, whatever Christ, he was a Capricorn. Whatever Christ thought today or felt today, it's possible that I feel the same thing because my birthday on Christmas. But when I tell people that, they say, "Oh, no, his birthday wasn't really on Christmas." So why are they telling people that? Why, until I realized on my own what I just said? I've been told my whole life the nigga birthday on Christmas. Was born on Christmas. Why, until I had that little download for myself to realize, damn, I might be just like Christ. It's like, until I realized for myself, people been lying to me or allowing me to believe a lie. I done thought of shit like, damn, if Jesus was born on December 25th, that means he was born within a year, on a date, a month and a day. So that means, yeah, somebody should be able to tell me how old he is, what year he was born in, and etc. No, he wasn't. He wasn't really just born on that day. So why are y'all telling people that? Man, I'm willing to challenge anybody. I do better when I'm responding to somebody's shit, because then I'm a pull from nature. I'm gonna pull from the sky. I'm gonna pull from the ground. I'm pulling from animals. I'm pulling from the truth, you know. And it ain't no. It's man. You can think what you want to think, but I know what I know, and I'm down for any challenge. I know I'm right. That's why that's why God chose me. I'm down to die about it. You see what I'm saying? I told him I speak in parables all the time. And the way and Jesus was able to speak in parables and give us knowledge because God like he was able to it's like communicating with those things like that he's talking about. And again, they just don't understand it, you know what I'm saying? It's like they don't have the power to do it. I don't know. But it's real and that's the thing about it. The Bible says it. Like, you know. Hmm. I done been turned on and then all that I'm trying to I think I done said everything on this paper. Yeah, I got an Adam and Eve story to where that niggas to where he said something like, "Bitch, yeah, y'all know what you got that in your hand for? That ain't what we've here to do." You see what I'm saying? Like, bitch, you eat that shit, you gonna be on your own. God send me another one. Oh, I ain't. But what the fuck? Like, you know what I'm saying? I got a different story to where a nigga said, fuck what Eve talking about. I'm not falling for Satan trap. You know, that's how Satan work. If he can get my woman, if he can get the woman, if Satan would have, Satan knew if he could get Eve, he'd get Adam. If he'd have never got Eve, he would have never got Adam. So it's like, yeah, shit like that. What was I finna say? um, I'ma hold it down though. I'ma slap the hoe. I forgot what I was gonna say. I'ma slap the hoe though if I have to. You know, anything to help her before she go to hell and be blaming me to say I didn't tell her enough. I heard you, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough because you've been listening to somebody else. Obviously, other than that, this guy right here. Who else? Where you been? So, like, who else I heard you talking to? Where it's just me and you? You know, I just told you this how it go. This how it go. You looking at me like, no, it ain't. I can do this. Which where you been? Who like that lets me know off the rip that somebody. I mean, it's just common sense. You know, so I got a different story. You know, where a nigga said, "Fuck that bitch. She can't say that nigga can have her," and he kept doing the Lord's work, and he in heaven, and she going through hell, and she wanna come following after him now, like Jane and Tarzan. You know, it's like they should have listened. You know, and I also got this kind of stories where the nigga where this shit took place in heaven. The bitch fucked up and came to earth, and the you know it, the nigga came chasing after her. Now we in hell getting stuck where she was just supposed to. Now we in hell stuck where she was supposed to die here. I don't know how to explain it, but I know somebody get what I'm saying. It's many different stories that's not in the Bible. They just telling us the story about how man, the fall of man by chasing the bitch. What about Yeah, man, I hear what I'm saying, man. I've been out, I'm just saying, it's like, it's just a lot of shit that ain't in the Bible. We got to come together. We can totally come together and write a new Bible with the knowledge I got. I do it every day. I tell a story that's out of this world. The same type of stories in the Bible. I tell a story every day, 2 or 3 of them, and I'm using the shit around me, my journey, not Christ. I use what comes to me and write it out and draw out the messages, and I totally understand everything. I can read Christ's story, and I understand it, and I believe that it's some truth. There's some truth to it. It's like watching a movie that ain't mine. I fuck with it, you know. It's well put together, but you got 50 people and have them write a story, or pay attention to my life, and write a story on it, be coming with a Bible the same way due to my information that I gave them. But nowadays, people they don't recognize, and everybody want to be Christ in that situation. The Peters, all the niggas that was around Christ was low key hating. They was following him because of the fame. They all turned on him, you know. Um, for those with ears, I hope they can hear. I'm tired as fuck, you know what I'm saying? My words slurring and shit, but hey man, I'm trying to tell y'all, man. Right here at Crossroads, I gotta leave Monday. So it's like I'm dying. I come back to life Monday. Nah, a lot of shit be over people here and there think I'm crazy. But that's Christ though. Right here though, we got on their ass. I ain't gonna never forget it. I got a video. And I have not mentioned that part. That I got a video of it. Or at least the start of it. And right when they knocked on my door, somebody called my phone and stopped my video. So yeah, man, that's how my day went. Not the best storyteller right now, but I hope y'all get the message. I'm just trying to give y'all the facts. You know, that's how it went. Everything they explained to me, they like, Christ came down and told us that whoopty whoopty whoop and whoopty whoopty whoop, and I was like, yeah, I understand that. That's the same thing Apple tells you. If you learn how to communicate with it, you can, man, and Apple was created by God. If I get all these different messages, if I'm able to communicate with animals and plants and stuff like Christ, like I'm supposed to be able to do, then yeah, when I talk to you, I'm able to tell you, man, I got my message from God. Like, I get my message like from the truth. God created all these things. You know what I'm saying? Everything is everything. I don't need a book. I don't get my message from a story. Christ said, don't worship me, worship God. So I worship God, and I'm able to communicate with all his living. Well, y'all get what I'm saying, man. It might sound crazy. That's my point, though. You know, The Bible says do these things. Christ did these things. And that's what made him who he was. When I tell people I can do these things, they don't believe. And that's the problem.